A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 20th May 2020, day is Wednesday. And I would like to start today's discussion with this quote. When you are enthusiastic about what you do, you feel this positive energy. It's very simple. Dear friends, I want you guys to try this thing. That when you feel that, there are so many things that we don't like to do. This is very common with every one of us. But the winners are those people, right, who know that they don't like to do something, but then as well they do that particular thing. So the question is how they do it. One trick that I would like to share with you guys is, let's say, I know there are many students, they feel a bit of boredom when it comes to reading newspapers. So what you can do is, take out 2-3 minutes time, close your eyes and create this imagination, create this vision in your mind that when you will go through this newspaper, you know that you don't like reading newspapers, but then as well you have to read it for your knowledge, for your current affairs. But when you will go through the newspaper, when you will read this newspaper, after that you will feel a sense of confidence, isn't it? You feel great about yourself. You feel that energy, that positive energy. So the trick is, take out 2-3 minutes, take a pause, create that vision and do that thing that is necessary. And gradually, this will become your second nature or a sort of habit. Give it a go. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched a smart course. Now, this smart course is designed by the best faculties of our country. They have designed this course keeping in mind the necessity of Civil Services Examination. Dear friends, today is the last date for this EMI option. So make the most out of it. All you have to do is download our mobile application. Download it and you will get all important details regarding our smart course. With this, dear friends, to download the PDF of today's discussion, today's lecture, PDF, in fact, I have already shared the PDF on my Telegram channel. Yesterday, I was a bit late. I do apologize about it. But today's PDF is already available on my Telegram channel, so you can get it from there. If you want to get in touch with me, then this is my FB page here. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The thing is that I know that there are only few students, right? They share this lecture. I want every one of you to share this lecture. This series can easily get 10,000 plus views, right? But the reason it is not getting is not because I think it's been a very long time now that I'm working really hard on this series. I think the reason is that students are not sharing it, right? They're just watching this thing, they're downloading the PDF and that's it. They think that their job is done. The thing is, if you don't support this series, then there's no point of continuing this series, isn't it? So everything has to have a sort of tipping point. Everything should grow. If a thing, whether it is a series or whether it is an individual, if that thing is not growing, then there is no point of investing energy, money and time after that thing. Same thing applies with this series as well. So I want you guys to share this, not just for one day or for a few weeks. I want the way you get this lecture every single day, I want you guys to take it as a duty to share this lecture with other students. It's very important. Now, on our table, we have total 5 articles. The first one is coming from Times of India. The reason is that if you go through the 2 editorials of the Hindu newspaper today, one is about sports, right? And the second one is about politics in Israel. I reckon you guys to go through this 2 editorial once, just have a quick glance over it. As far as your examination is concerned, not that important. Amphan strike. This one is important. This one is from Times of India. Very interesting editorial. Second editorial is from Mint newspaper. It's about this lack of coordination that we find between various different states. Third one, this article is from, these 3 articles are from the Hindu newspaper. One is about Chinese diplomacy, other one is about Pakistan and terrorism, and the third one is about social physicians. So let's start our discussion about Amphan strike. Now, first of all, I would like you guys to observe this picture, right? Take out a couple of minutes or maybe a minute and observe this picture, right? The bottom line is that we have to prepare ourselves. This is the main, you can say, core of this editorial. that we have to prepare ourselves to deal with the simultaneous disasters in one go. And that's what we are going through at present. On one side, we have this coronavirus thing going on, right? And on the other side, our two states, Odisha and West Bengal, they are going to go through this. They are going to face this wrath of this super cyclonic storm, Amphan or Amphan. Now, the reason why it is called a super cyclonic storm is because the wind speeds are going to be somewhere around 175 to 195 kilometers per hour. So on your screen, you can see the damage that it will create is going to be extensive. Right, 178 to 208 kilometer per hour wind speed can create extensive damage. It can damage your kacha houses are going to be damaged, but pakka houses as well. Proper houses are also going to see some sort of damage. You will see trees getting uprooted, right, and extensive damage, property damage, and this is going to cost crores and crores of rupees. On one side, we are struggling with coronavirus. On the other side, we are seeing this thing. So it is like, two extremes. I see this thing and I want you guys to create this thing in your head and keep this thing in your head, right? Or as a very important point, I want you guys to by heart this thing, that if you have two extremes, right? Let's say this, on one side you have big things, macro extremes, and on the other side you have micro or small extremes. Then on micro level, we can say that coronavirus, a very tiny virus, we cannot see it with our bare eyes. It has created a huge amount of damage around the world. On the other side, climate change related disasters, which we can term it, which we can put it on the other end, or the other extreme big end, right? So from both sides, basically, we are being attacked, right? This is going to be, means God forbid, but this is going to be a very normal thing, and we are going to see big disasters in near future led by climate change. Now in West Bengal, 3 lakh people are moved to relief camps, and in Odisha 11 lakh people are being moved to or transported to shelters in Odisha. Now the problem is, and here you go, this is a picture here, so you can see here Odisha and West Bengal. This is basically a path of this Amphan. Now the problem is that coronavirus thing is going on. We have to maintain physical distancing norms. And you can see here that we have 198 cyclone shelters in Odisha, and 36,200 people are living there. They are there because they are quarantined over there. So basically, shortage of shelter. On one side, coronavirus thing. On the other side, this thing. So if you are evacuating, if you are shifting people, then where are you going to shift them? We have to create some temporary facilities, isn't it? So this is, you can imagine, right? It's a double challenge. It is going to test our disaster response mechanism. So the thing is, the bottom line is, the lesson here is that the country needs to be prepared to handle 2 natural disasters simultaneously. I would say multiple natural disasters simultaneously. We have to prepare ourselves for more than 2 disasters, because in future this this climate change phenomena is taking place, and disasters led by this climate change phenomena are just around the corner, right? They are not that far away from us. So that's what we need to do. That's what we need to, we need to prepare ourselves. So we have to empower grassroots administration. We have to strengthen our NDRF even further. And the sad thing is that Central's annual outlay for procurement of equipment by NDRF had been slashed by some 40% last year. And this is, I think, a big mistake. We should not repeat this mistake in future, and we have to invest heavily in public health. Moving on to next item, this one is about this lack of coordination that we find between various different states. When GST was introduced back in 2017, the main aim of GST was to unify India's fragmented markets. Before GST, various different states used to have their various different taxes, or the various different rates of taxes were applied on various different products and services. But GST has unified this thing. But coronavirus is basically going to destroy, or it is balkanizing. Balkanize means it is basically fragmenting our union, or as a country, as a market. The reason I'm saying this thing is because we know that central government has very pragmatically, central government has given this permission, or central government has empowered various different states. The power is decentralized now, that you can take your own decisions. In lockdown 4.0, the main thing about lockdown 4.0 is that states are free to decide how severe they want to make things. So we should appreciate central government's this stand, that it is pragmatic, as well as it upholds the spirit of federalism. But at the same time, the problem is that various different states, they are trying to choke traffic, and they are asking for special permits. They are demanding special permits to enter the state. For example, Karnataka. Now, Karnataka has said that if, like, people from Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu, they are not allowed to enter Karnataka. So this is creating more barriers. Like, because of this, this specific prohibition, the whole process of entering Karnataka is becoming more troublesome, and it is creating delays for other people as well. This is arbitrary as well. This is not fair for the people of Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu. And this is basically a lack of policy cohesion among various different administrations. This is clear sign of lack of coordination between various different states. What they should do is they should make things a bit more simple rather than making it a bit more complex, isn't it? Just imagine now in future, talks are going on that I'll take this example only to explain this point to you. Just imagine that if flights carrying, flights from, let's say, Mumbai to Chennai, or not Mumbai to Chennai, Mumbai to Bangalore. Imagine that if they create this condition that if you are coming from this three states, Gujarat, Maharashtra, or Tamil Nadu, then you will not be allowed to enter the port of this airport of Karnataka. Then they are also talking about that, talks are going on that if you are above a certain age or below a certain age, then you will not be allowed. Like if you are coming from vulnerable group, vulnerable in the sense, vulnerable to COVID-19, then your entry will be barred. So this sort of things are not going to be healthy. The main point here is that we want to restart our economy. But if you create this sort of barriers, if there is lack of cohesion or lack of coordination between states, then it is going to create more troubles, and it is basically breaching the rights of our citizens as well, right? So that's basically everything about this particular article or editorial from the Mint newspaper. Now let's talk about a very interesting article. It's about Chinese diplomacy, and this is going to be very helpful for you throughout your preparation, because this article, first of all, is written by a former diplomat, a former foreign secretary of our country, has written this article, and this article will give you both the shades, let me make it a bit simple, right? How Chinese diplomacy used to be and where it is heading now, or its present nature, past and present, as well as future of Chinese diplomacy, or the way they deal with things. US President Theodore Roosevelt has said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick. You will go far." That means don't engage with someone. What you have to do is you have to be strong on one side. At the same time, make sure that you do not fight with everyone. They should know that you are strong. And if you are soft in speaking, if you avoid engagement, if you avoid troubles, and if you speak softly, deal politely with weaker nations, and if they know that you have a big stick or you have all the weapons and military might that you can create trouble for that weak nation, then you will go far. I hope you got the message here, that keep your head down, don't engage, don't fight, don't waste your energy in creating enemies, rather than create your friends, right? Even if a person is not your good friend, and I'm not talking about your personal life and social life, right? Don't take it, this is not healthy for your personal relations. This is about diplomacy. Very strictly, we are talking about world relations here. We are talking about international, global or geopolitics here. We are talking about diplomacy. These things are not healthy for your personal life. I'm again saying this thing. So the main core idea here in diplomacy is that, see, how diplomacy works. Diplomacy is all about looking after your nation's interests, right? And it's more like business, a pure business between two countries. What you can buy from me and how much I can sell to you, right? How much less I will buy from you, how much more I can sell to you, and how many friends I can make from you, and things like that. If I have some enemies, and if I can defeat that enemy without using any weapon, and if I can use someone else and destroy that particular enemy or create problems for that enemy, then I will do that rather than going for a direct military confrontation. So Mao Zedong was a very aggressive, I would say, person, and during his phase, Chinese communism's bad or crude phase was quite visible. But then came Zhou Enlai. Zhou Enlai was a very soft-spoken person, but behind this politeness, a big strategy was going on. It was like playing a game of chess. Looks like you are taking just one step at a time, but you are thinking 5-6 steps. You're planning in advance. It's something like that. So I hope this will help you. This example will help you to understand this Zhou Enlai's strategy. Zhou Enlai used to believe in using stick very rarely, right? Normal time, just use persuasion. Just use your skills to persuade people and countries. In this article, I want you guys to go through this article, right? Go through the PDF as well. And of course, I'm going to explain the main core theme of this article. But I want you guys to read this article once. Just once will be enough, because you will find few examples here. I have added few examples here. Few examples are there in the article. So the most important one is, let's say, this one. General Douglas MacArthur, USA's general. So his army was going to cross, enter North Korea. And at that point of time, Zhou Enlai summoned the Indian ambassador in Beijing to deliver a message to the Americans that if the US troops cross the 38th parallel, we will intervene. This is 38th parallel here, a border between North Korea and South Korea. And we are talking about what? We are talking about somewhere around in early 50s. So USA enters regardless of Chinese concern, crossed the 30th parallel. The Chinese attacked and brought the world's greatest power to a standstill. And then later on, China became, part of 1954's Geneva's world stage meeting. Can you tell me, where do you find this Geneva? In which country you find this city Geneva? Stick your answer in the comment section. So China became a bit powerful in this, world negotiation table. China found a chair for itself. And during this Indochina is not India and China. Indochina here means Vietnam earlier was known as Indochina. So this Vietnam was winning against France in this first Indochina war, and Americans were preparing to intervene, fearing that another domino would fall to communism. But China very trickily, this Zhao's regime, very trickily it negotiated, and it played its part in such a way. It created this whole strategy of united front. So how it works is that you avoid isolation. You are not creating any direct enemies. You are building solidarity with non-aligned countries, even if a country's diplomat who is not that good friend. There is a difference between a friend and an acquaintance. Acquaintance is a person whom you barely know. You have a sort of hi-hello relationship, but you are not that great friend. But then as well, you treat that acquaintance with, more than a friend. That person will feel that you are giving too much importance to that person, and you feel delighted when you are being treated. Just imagine, someone knows you just a little bit, and if you are somewhere nearby his residence or office, and that person will treat you, he or she will invite you for meal, and they treat you very well. They give you a gift as well whilst you are living. So this will create a very good, that will give you a sense of, important, that will create a very good image of that person, that person was like, hospitality was outstanding and they care about you, and then you will do everything to maintain that healthy relation. So that's what they started doing. They started treating this, acquaintance country with tender loving care and hospitality. And, backdoor, they were dividing the West. So this was the whole strategy of Zhao's regime. Zhao had thought, Chinese diplomats, that the real advantage in negotiation was to know more than the other side. And this whole diplomacy, Chinese diplomats were trained with this thing. Deng died in 1997, and after that, a new generation of diplomats started coming in. These diplomats were arrogant, right? They replaced humility with arrogance. Persuasion is quickly abandoned in favor of stick. You can see this thing with India. You can see this Chinese dealing with the South China Sea and ASEAN and other countries. They are using force and other things, isn't it? They are statements of fact or reasoned opinion are seen by them as insult and humiliation. And this is the new phase of Chinese diplomacy. They are getting more and more aggressive. This whole softness, this whole softness and this subtleness that was visible in Zhao's regime is disappearing in today's Chinese diplomacy. Moving on to next item, I think we have enough knowledge about this thing, but then as well, there are a few important points in this article. Now, we know it very well that Pakistan is a big hub, a terror hub for the whole world, isn't it? And you find the strange thing is that terror attack taking place in countries of South America. You find roots somewhere directly, indirectly, Pakistan is involved over there. So it all started back in 1970s, right? Pakistan first operationalized this using terrorism as a sort of a force, right? A sort of, continuous low-intensity warfare with its neighbor. It started with Afghanistan. So Pakistan first operationalized this strategy in regard to Afghanistan following the overthrow of Zahir Shah by his cousin Daud Khan in 1973, and intensified this strategy with the cooperation of US and Saudi Arabia after the Marxist coup in 1978. The Soviet withdrawal in 1989 left the Pakistani military with a large surplus of Islamist fighters that it had trained and armed. When USSR attacked Afghanistan to take over Afghanistan, USA was not happy. The Cold War was going on. We are talking about late 70s and early 80s and late 80s as well. So Pakistan means funds were provided by USA to Pakistan, and Pakistan used to use these funds as well as weapons to fuel this Mujahideens. And these Mujahideens used to fight against this USSR. USSR was, was tired of this continuous attack. And these people were dying, but they were trained. They were, religion was added as a final flavor in this whole fight. So these people, these Mujahideens were, their whole ideology was that they are protecting their land and they are doing this for their religion. So even if they die, they are going to go to heaven and things like that. So now this big gang was created, and after this withdrawal of Soviet, Pakistan was left with this big asset, right? The surplus of this Islamist fighters. And if you observe the disturbance or this rise of insurgency in Kashmir Valley, it all started back in late 80s. So this asset was used in Kashmir by Pakistan. Now, the thing is, later on it became clear that this Frankenstein's monster that was created by Pakistan, it turned against their creator. It started creating troubles for Pakistan because so many leaders, so many different terrorist organizations, their leaders, they were like, they later on became hungry of power. They realize that they are the ones who are doing action at grassroots level. They have the real power, they have guns and everything, they have training. So why they should report to their military bosses or their these politicians of Pakistan? So they became independent, but not all of them. Few of them are hardcore loyalists like Lashkar-e-Taiba, and this is one of the main reasons why Lashkar-e-Taiba's head, this Hafiz Saeed, is protected by Pakistan's military as well as government. You know that there is like a $10 million bounty on this Hafiz Saeed, but then as well Hafiz Saeed can freely go to one place to another in Pakistan, and when when too much pressure started mounting on this Pakistan from FATF and other countries, India and other countries, then what it did, it has basically put this Hafiz Saeed behind the bars, right? The court has ordered 10 years jail for Hafiz Saeed, and this is not just a jail, this is a sort of security for Hafiz Saeed. I'm sure Hafiz Saeed can do everything. In fact, he can do more things behind the bars than he used to do it when he was out there. So a sort of proper protection has been provided to Hafiz Saeed. This is a very tricky way of protecting this loyalist terrorist organization's leader. Leading Pakistan watcher Christine Fair, in her book, has said that there is a difference between LET and JEM, Jaish-e-Mohammed. Jaish-e-Mohammed, the LET is more pragmatic, it is more logical rather than ideological, and this JEM is more ideological. It is attacking, it is dividing societies between Shias and Sunnis, and within Sunnis as well there are a few different branches. So LET may not attack people in Pakistan, but JEM will attack various different people of Pakistan, and Pakistan has seen so much blood as well, right? I'm not saying that Pakistan, each and every Pakistani is a terrorist. No, that is not right. There are so many Pakistanis, right? They are suffering. Pakistani society is also suffering from this terrorism. And the main bottom line here is that the thing that Pakistan created, this whole terrorism thing that Pakistan, this terrorist outfits that Pakistan created, it was unable, in fact, it is unable to control all of them. Few of them are under Pakistan, few of them are independent, and few of them are getting support from foreign countries like Afghanistan's Taliban, and other organizations are also supporting these terrorist organizations. So it establishes the fact that using terrorist outfits for state objectives is a highly risky business. Last one is about social physicians. While medicine remains central to public health, medical academia has never been a torchbearer for the public health cause. So this article is saying that we need to have more social doctors, right? So far, our medical academic world has focused on creating doctors only, but now we need to create doctors that are socially oriented, right? They look after our community. I'm not saying that the doctors are not looking after our community. They do, but we need to add a touch of a flavor of social orientation, right, in our doctors, and this can be done if we change the nature of our elite professional institutions. Last year, in 2019, this competency-based undergraduate curriculum was updated, and communication skills and empathy was added in it. Now we need to add a societal touch as well, and we don't have to make our institutions more political. What you have to do is, when I say political, I mean to say that we don't want to see like protests and other things going on, but you can add a social orientation. You can do this thing by changing the way they are trained. You can send them to, they need more community exposure. They both at undergraduate as well as postgraduate level, and we need to shift them from cities to lower level health facilities and communities, so that they know what's going on in our community. They can feel the vibe, and based on that vibe they can become a bit more socially responsible. So that's what this article is talking about. And then we have some news items. The problem is that new cases, we have started registering more than 4,000 cases per day. Deaths are also climbing up, so that's a matter of concern. Now, one thing is good, that we are doing more tests, and that's the reason why we are getting these big numbers. But the problem is that death numbers are going up as well. Health Ministry issues new guidelines for workplaces. 2 militants were killed in an encounter, and one of them was separatist leader's son. AP gas leak. Supreme Court has said that it will not interfere with NGT order. Delhi sees biggest spike in day with 500 cases. Community role vital now, says Kerala CM. Grasshoppers attack crops in Wayanad. CBI alerts authorities to malware threat. 2,400 Indians to be evacuated from Sri Lanka. Hotter oceans spawns super cyclone. This article is connected with the discussion that we have done. That super cyclone Amphan, and this sort of cyclones, we are going to see more of them because of temperature rise in Bay of Bengal and in other oceans. Reform or face fund cuts has been said by Trump to World Trade Organization, and this article you can connect with Pakistan article that we have discussed, that Taliban has said that we are no proxy of any other country. Now we are independent. We are not reporting to any country. That's what Taliban is saying. So that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure that you share this video with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And I'll see you soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.